Greetings, people of the Earth. Happy 2020. I know it's 20-ish plus days too late. This might even come out in February, but Happy New Year. So all the stuff that I'm going to be showing you today is just stuff that I use at home when I shoot like this or when I go out to do a job. Everything has kind of been useful except for certain things that I will point out later. But for the most part, I've pretty much thrown away or sold everything that I don't use anymore. The order that this video is going to be going in is the order of my kit page. If you've never seen kit or you don't know what kit is, it's basically a page where creators put up the gear that they use for certain things, and I have my own one, so this is the audio and video version of my kit page. First things first is the camera. My main camera of choice is the 5D Mark IV. It is what is filming me right now, so I can't really show it to you, but it's a really nice stills camera. It's not that great in video. There are some things that I would like a better codec, better 100 frames, and better 4K. The full frame look is really pretty, and it does allow me to use the full frame lenses at its full potential, so that's kind of why I still use the 5D Mark IV, but in 2020 I would not recommend using the 5D Mark IV. There are mirrorless options and better DSLR options as well, so this is very ancient. The next camera of choice is the 70D. Now this thing is probably not the most amazing thing in the world. In fact, 90D has replaced this and the 80D, so this is very old, but it's my very first DSLR. I do use this as a backup, and it has the crop sensor, but I hate using the word crop, so I call it the Super 35 sensor. This is a backup camera which I do carry around with me just in case my 5D stops working. I do prefer using the 5D, but if I do have to, I will use the 70D. I also dropped this in a bucket of soy sauce once, so it's forever stuck on video mode, but you know what? I only shoot videos with this thing, so not a problem for me. Next up is lenses. The first lens I'm talking about is the one that's filming me right now, and that's the 16-35 f2.8L Mark III. So this is the third version of the 16-35 2.8 that Canon has. There is the 2.8s and the f4s, and this is beautiful. It is internal zooming, which is absolutely amazing for whenever I go on a gimbal, and it creates beautiful landscapes. This is the lens that pretty much got me into landscape photography, and now I'm obsessed with finding the most dynamic looking landscapes, and it's all because of this lens. The next lens is the 70-200 2.8 LIS USM 2 something. You know what? They have really long names, but this is the second version. It's got the stabilization. It has internal zooming, and it's 70-200. This was actually the first lens I bought after my 70D, well, excluding the kit lens. And the reason I bought this was because I didn't really know what this was, but I saw a lot of behind the scenes people had one of these. And when I saw that, I was like, I need one of these. So I only really figured out what 70-200 was after I bought it, but you know what? No regrets, because it really made me enjoy portrait photography a lot, and it was kind of my thing for the longest time until I found this landscape lens. Now I kind of do both. Beautiful lens though, definitely should get one if you don't have one. I might make a video as to why you should get one, because this thing is really nice. Next lens is the Helios 58mm f2. Now this thing is a fully manual lens. It looks beautiful, it has that swirly bokeh, and this I only really use when I have a focus puller because I hate pulling focus on this thing, so let someone else do it. For $60, this thing is an absolute bargain, so definitely get one. You can only find these used, so if you can find it for less than 60, that's even better, because this thing's gold. And finally, the lens that I just keep around is the kit lens. I don't really use this, I just kind of keep this around because it kind of humbles me. It reminds me of where I did start out from, which was just a 70D and this dinky kit lens. It's the 18-135. This is probably one of the better kit lenses to start off with because it has a little bit more focal range. It's not that great of a lens. I try not to use this if I don't have to, and honestly it's probably been 2 years since I've used this thing. Next up is just a little bonus thing. This is the Tiffen 77mm variable ND filter. I use this thing with my 70-200, and basically what this does is it allows you to use very shallow depth of field on a sunny day while keeping that 180-degree shutter rule, and basically it just goes from light to dark and back to light and dark. I rarely use this thing because I hate shooting in sunlight. I prefer shooting in golden hour, blue hour, and darkness, like pitch black darkness because I like using artificial lighting, as you can see. But I do bring this thing around just in case I need to use it. I've only ever used this like twice. Okay, microphones. The first microphone that I use is the Sennheiser MKH416. Now, it is what's recording me right now. It's just slightly out of frame, and this thing has been absolutely beautiful. The moment I bought this thing, I was like, hey, this sounds really good, so I just kind of use this now. However, this is a very, very expensive mic. I don't recommend buying it if you don't have the budget for it, but there are plenty of other options that give you really nice sound. The Deity S-Mic 2 and the 2S can produce some really, really nice sound as well, so not everybody needs a 416, but it's nice to have. Next up is the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus. I've been using this for vlogs and for scratch audio. It's worked great for the years that I've been using this, but I think I'm gonna upgrade to the Rode VideoMic NTG, mostly because it sounds better than this. Not to say that this doesn't sound great, because this really does sound very, very good, but it could be improved. When it first came out, this was probably the best thing in the market. Now, you can do a lot better than this, albeit it's a little more expensive. But it's a really, really good mic. It's survived in the water and the rain so many times, and it still works perfectly fine. Next up is the Sound Devices MixPre 3. Now that's right out of frame down here, and I do use this thing to record my audio. I used to use the Zoom H4n Pro, but that thing took like ages to boot up. Like my grandchildren were having grandchildren by the time that thing booted up. This thing's been great. Not only the fact that it boots up fast, but like it has some really nice preamps and it's just heaven. It's like the sound of heaven. Next on the list is the DJI Ronin S. This thing, well, I bought this and reviewed it, I think 2 weeks before I stopped vlogging in 2018. And if I'm honest, ever since that time, I've only used this on 2 or 3 jobs. I barely touch my gimbal. Not because it sucks, but because I just do a lot of sit-down shots, so it's always with the tripod. However, when I do use this thing, I do sometimes wish for a slider or a jib, because that would be so much easier to get my shots than this thing. This can be a bit of a hassle sometimes, but the 2 or 3 jobs that I did use this on, it has worked perfectly fine, and I've always been very happy with my footage. I think there are better options now in 2020, like the Moza Air, I think that's what it's called, or like the Slypod, I think. I don't know, but like for what it's worth, it's great, but it's definitely dated. In terms of my main tripod, I'm using the Manfrotto Nitrotech N8 head with the aluminium twin leg mid spreader thing. It's basically just a tripod with 2 legs per leg, so you get 6 legs, and it's aluminium. It's very heavy, but it's very heavy duty as well. Nitrotech N8 head is absolutely beautiful. It's so buttery smooth, and every time I bring this on set, it's never let me down. The counterbalance technology on the head also saves my camera from totally falling over, so beautiful tripod. If you've got the budget for it, definitely buy it because it's great. But I think there's an N6, which is slightly better than this. Regardless, Manfrotto makes amazing tripods, which is why I only buy from Manfrotto. And also because I don't have money for more expensive tripod brands. The next tripod on the list is the Manfrotto Carbon Fiber B3. This thing, for $150 I think it was, it's wonderful. It serves the job really well. My main gripe with this is there's no hook for me to put a balancing weight on this thing, so when I did bring this to Lake District, it was shaking a lot, but it's never really shaken up any of my shots, just my video. I love the fact that this uses the clip locks as opposed to the twist locks, because I hate twist locks. Ever since I used a boom pole with twist locks and it just kind of went back in, and it's a hassle. I hate using them, so these are the best. There is an upgraded version of this, but it's with twist locks, so I wouldn't call that an upgrade. I think it's a downgrade, but it's more expensive. So it's probably an upgrade. Still keeping this though. The next tripod is not really a tripod, it is the SwitchPod. Now this thing is incredibly overrated. I do use this as my main vlogging tripod because it's very ergonomic, but in terms of the whole gimmick of this, that's noisy. No one wants to hear that, and no one wants to hear this in a video either. So no one's going to be doing that while they're filming. So the fact that this can't really wrap around a tree is kind of stupid, but it is nice to hold. It's incredibly overrated though. For $90, don't buy it. Wait for this to go on sale. This thing on the other hand is stupid expensive. It's the Joby GorillaPod 5K, and if I'm honest, it's a real pain to hold. It's not very comfortable. It feels like you're holding 3, you know, and this has the tendency to slip all the time, so I just try not to put my camera on this thing too much. But it is great if you want to stick this to a tree or a pole or anything that's not flat. In terms of lighting, my main lighting setup is the Aputure 120D Mark II with the Light Dome 2. It's just kind of facing me from this angle. Super soft light, it has effects, and it's up my photography game by a whole lot because it's just so nice on the skin. This is one I'm probably not going to change or upgrade for another few years because it's just that good. Next up we have the Bolling P1. Now I did show this once in a video and it's right behind me. I figured to just keep it as my background light because, well, they don't really have to be changed very often, and the fact that this doesn't have app control really bothers me. I really want to sell it, but I lost the box, so I can't sell it. But it's bright, I guess. I don't know, it's not the greatest thing in the world. I probably should have waited for an MC, but for the time it did serve me, I guess it was alright. One light that I really do like is the Aputure MC, and it's right here, and funny enough, an RGB light is being used as my fill light. You can see it's filling me in on here. I did get some comments saying that my lighting with just like the black on my face was not nice, so I've used it as a fill light, and the reason I've been using that as a fill is because it has app control. I can just sit here, look at my monitor, and just fix things up. It's been beautiful, it's hella soft, and I can't wait to get another one of these when I sell that. One little light that I just kind of keep in my bag is this. It's the Aputure M9. It has no battery right now, so that's embarrassing, but this is great for a camera top light. It's small enough and I can accent it. I can use it as a hair light. There's no hair light now because there's no battery, but this is great. It's really cheap, so go get one. Everybody needs to get one of these things, though I think they're getting a bit out of date, so I'm hoping for an upgrade of these things very, very soon. I do use a monitor when I film things because I can't really see what's in front of me right now, so I'm a bit blind. And this is the Atomos Shinobi 5-inch. The reason I didn't get a Ninja was because, well, I didn't have the budget for the Ninja, and the Shinobi was perfect. It was just a monitor. I don't need these SSD recording whatchamacallits. Look, I don't have that budget for that kind of stuff. Just a pure monitor with like 1000 nit brightness or whatever. It's worked amazing. It has LUT input in there as well, which has been great. I can just kind of show clients what the video is going to look like with the edited colors, and that's been very, very helpful for me. I also have a camera strap with me. This is the Peak Design something, I don't know. This is some Summit version, so they sell for like $400 on eBay now, and it's stupid. Don't buy this thing for $400. It's only worth $50. This thing is great. No one should ever have to use the camera brand's neck strap because that's painful. No one wants pain. These are comfortable. So go get one of these. I think Peak Design has definitely upgraded these since, so they're probably more comfortable, and they've got this really cool latching system. So I have one of those Peak Design capture clips on all my cameras. In terms of what I use to carry all my gear around, this is the Peli Air 1535. It's been beautiful. I've used it for a week now. It uses the TrekPack system, so there's like this hard foam inside, and it's not one of those like stupid camera bag soft divider nonsense. I hate those. Those go out of shape, they don't protect your gear, and this is good. This is also a carry-on, so I never have to check in my gear again. Not to say that everything I talked about in this video fits in this little case. It doesn't, it really doesn't. But all the ones that I deem worthy go in here. The next thing is the actual bag itself. This is the Lowepro Pro Runner 450 AWBP2. I think that's what it's called. I made a video about this thing, I think back in 2017, I believe. It was okay. It really did the job, but the only reason why I don't use it anymore is because I have back pain, and back pain is not great, especially when you're going on set. You don't want to be that one guy that just shouts, "Oh, my back," every time you try and do a very cool shot from the ground. So that's just kind of why I stopped using this. It's not a bad bag. It just makes you look a bit like a turtle. I do keep this Manfrotto backpack around with me. I think this is the Be Free backpack. It has a little slot here that perfectly fits the carbon fiber tripod that I use, so that's great, and it only really carries like 2 lenses and a body, so I only bring this when I need to go on a very, very small trip, because this really isn't that great of a bag. I use this as a school bag because this is better than most school bags, but I don't really like this thing too much as a camera bag. And finally we have this. This is the Orca OR270. It is made for the MixPre system, and I stick my MixPre 3 in here. It's got a beautiful aluminium body in there, totally padded up, and I did drop this from the top of my closet, and my MixPre 3 was totally fine. So, beautiful bag. It's mostly for mixing, but it's so far been for protection. Okay, and that's all the gear. There were a few things from my kit page that I did leave out, like the C-stand, the film camera, and probably a few SD cards. Those don't really matter. There were a few things I also did misplace, so I should go find those, but the things that I misplace, high chances are I don't use them anymore. Do you need all this gear? No, you really don't. The reason I buy all this gear is because I have this passion for gear. I love seeing new equipment out all the time because it's just really fascinating to me. I love being able to speed up my workflow, and when you do a lot of jobs, the last thing you want is a very, very slow workflow. So I do buy these things just to make myself more efficient, because the more efficient you are, the more work you get done, the more work you get done, the more money you get paid, the more money you get paid, the more gear you can buy. So it's all an investment. The only time where buying camera gear is not an investment is if you buy stupid things. How do you know if you're buying stupid things? I'll make a video about that one day. You'll see it. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. To anyone that's still here, thank you for staying, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!